Every morning, millions of Americans pick up mouthwash believing they are making the right choice. They trust the brand, the packaging, the claims. Advanced protection, deep clean, whitening, fresh breath. But most people never turn the bottle around. They never read the ingredient list. They never ask, what is this formula actually designed to do? The truth is, people shop based on feelings, not science. A blue bottle feels powerful. A green bottle feels natural. A burning sensation feels like it is working. And companies understand this better than anyone. But sensation and science are not the same. A mouthwash that burns does not automatically work better. A longer ingredient list does not mean better oral health. Your mouth only responds to chemistry. The real problem, millions of people are buying products for problems those products were never designed to solve. By the end, you will know exactly what to look for on any label in less than 30 seconds. The real question is, what problem am I actually trying to fix? What to know before we start? Different mouthwashes have different purposes. Fluoride focuses on cavities. CPC and essential oils target plaque and gingivitis. Hydrogen peroxide whitens. Breath rinses target odors. The mistake is assuming every mouthwash does everything. Mouthwash is not a replacement for brushing, flossing, or professional dental care. It can support your routine, but it cannot replace the foundation. Now, let's begin. Number 7. Scope Outlast. Scope is the green bottle everyone recognizes. The cold mint sensation. For decades, it has sold one thing, freshness. But feeling different and being healthier are not the same thing. A strong mint sensation creates the impression something powerful is happening, but your mouth does not measure effectiveness by intensity. Scope uses CPC, cetylpyridinium chloride, an antimicrobial ingredient for plaque and bad breath. The question is not whether it exists, but whether this formula matches what you actually need. Someone buying Scope for healthier gums, who really needs cavity prevention, is solving the wrong problem. Possible concerns. CPC can cause temporary staining or taste changes in some users. Some Scope products contain alcohol, which intensifies the burning sensation. For people with dry mouth or sensitivity, that alcohol may not help. It may make things worse. Dry mouth is not just an inconvenience. Saliva plays an important role in protecting teeth, controlling bacteria, and maintaining balance inside the mouth. Someone dealing with dryness because of medication, age, or other factors may want to think carefully about what type of rinse they use regularly. The lesson: freshness is powerful marketing. When something feels extremely clean, it is easy to assume it is doing more than it actually is. But sensation does not equal science. Number 6. Listerine Original Antiseptic. Listerine is positioned as the serious mouthwash. Professional packaging, intense burn, antiseptic label. But here is the truth. Listerine Original has real benefits. It contains essential oils, eucalyptal, menthol, methyl salicylate, thymol, designed to reduce plaque and gingivitis. The problem is the burn. Listerine contains 26.9% alcohol by volume. For someone with no sensitivity issues seeking plaque control, this works. For someone with dry mouth or sensitivity, that same intense formula may make things worse. People confuse discomfort with results. A harsh feeling feels productive. The strongest product is not always the smartest product. The best product matches your situation, not which bottle looks most powerful. Number 5. Colgate Optic White Mouthwash. Americans have been chasing one promise: a brighter smile. Coffee stains, tea stains, wine stains. The natural yellowing that happens over time. All of these slowly change how people see their teeth. And the oral care industry understands something very important. A smile is not just about dental health. It is about confidence. It is about feeling comfortable when you laugh, feeling confident when you take photos, feeling like you look younger. Colgate Optic White uses 2% hydrogen peroxide, the same ingredient in professional whitening systems. Hydrogen peroxide works through oxidation, breaking down stain molecules and making teeth appear lighter. But here is the problem. A bottle sitting next to traditional mouthwash creates an assumption. People think, this is mouthwash, so it must protect my teeth fully. But a whitening rinse has one specific purpose: appearance, not cavity prevention or gum health. Some users experience tooth sensitivity or gum irritation. More frequent use does not mean better results. It often means more irritation. Imagine someone already struggling with sensitive teeth. They see a whitening product promising a brighter smile. They think, if a little helps, maybe more will help faster. So they use it more often, leave it on longer, increase frequency. But active ingredients do not work that way. More does not automatically mean better. Sometimes more simply means more irritation. It does not solve the problems underneath. Someone with cavities, plaque buildup, or gum inflammation does not fix those issues by making teeth appear brighter. A whiter smile and a healthier smile can overlap, but they are not identical. Number 4. Crest 3D White Brilliance Mouthwash. Crest understands consumer psychology. People want teeth that look healthy, not just are healthy. Imagine someone looking at themselves in a bathroom mirror before going out. They notice their teeth are not as bright as they remember. Maybe years of coffee, maybe tea every morning, maybe just natural changes over time. They are not thinking about ingredients, they are thinking about confidence. They want to smile without feeling self-conscious. They want to look better in photos. Crest 3D White approaches whitening differently than hydrogen peroxide products. It focuses on stain control using sodium hexametaphosphate and surfactants. It also contains sodium lauryl sulfate, SLS. The internet creates simple rules. Ingredient sounds complicated, so it must be bad. But real science is more complicated. SLS is widely used in many consumer products for texture and consistency. However, some people with very sensitive mouths may notice irritation from certain SLS-containing products. For someone who regularly experiences mouth sensitivity or recurring mouth ulcers, experimenting with an SLS-free alternative may make sense. But that does not mean every person needs to avoid SLS. Key distinction: the same formula can feel completely different depending on the person using it. Whitening is easy to market because results are visible. You can show a brighter smile. You can show before and after photos. You can show someone looking more confident. But important parts of oral health are invisible. Gum health, cavity prevention, bacterial balance. Those do not create dramatic advertisements. A wider smile is easy to sell. A healthier mouth requires more explanation. The biggest mistake is choosing based on the result you want, instead of the problem you need to solve. Number 3. Tom's of Maine Wicked Fresh Fluoride-Free Mouthwash. Tom's of Maine is not built like traditional brands. Natural ingredients, simple formulas, environmental responsibility, a feeling that you are choosing something cleaner. For many consumers, that message is extremely powerful, especially parents, especially people trying to reduce the number of synthetic ingredients they use every day. Imagine a parent standing in the oral care aisle. They see 2 bottles. One has a long list of chemical-sounding ingredients. The other says, natural, simple, clean ingredients. The emotional decision feels easy. The natural product feels like the safer choice. But here is the question every consumer needs to ask. Natural compared to what? Designed to do what? One of the biggest misunderstandings in modern health products is believing that removing an ingredient automatically makes a product better. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it does not. Tom's of Maine removes fluoride completely. Fluoride is one of the most studied ingredients in dentistry because of its role in helping prevent tooth decay. If someone chooses fluoride-free because they personally want to avoid fluoride, that is a personal decision. But if someone believes that removing fluoride automatically makes the product healthier, that is where the misunderstanding begins. Imagine 2 people using the same fluoride-free mouthwash. Person 1, they rarely experience cavities. Their main goal is simply fresher breath. For them, fluoride may not be the deciding factor. Person 2, they have a history of cavities. Maybe they have struggled with decay for years. For them, removing fluoride from their routine may deserve more consideration. Same product, different situation, different priorities. And this is why personal care decisions cannot be based only on marketing words. Words like natural, clean, simple create powerful emotional shortcuts. Natural feels gentle. Natural feels trustworthy. Natural feels safer. But health decisions cannot be based only on what sounds comforting. They have to be based on what the product is actually designed to do. The interesting thing about Tom's of Maine is that the concern is not a dramatic ingredient creating fear. It is the opposite. The concern is what the product does not contain. Sometimes the missing ingredient is the reason another product exists. Number 2. Guru Nanda Pulling Oil. A few years ago, something unusual started appearing everywhere online. People standing in their bathrooms, a small bottle on the counter, a timer running, a mouth full of oil. This practice became known as oil pulling. Oil pulling comes from traditional Ayurvedic practices that have existed for centuries. For generations, people have used oils as part of traditional wellness routines. But something interesting happened when this ancient practice entered the modern consumer market. The meaning changed. A traditional ritual became a product category. Suddenly, companies were not only selling oil, they were selling a promise, a cleaner mouth, a brighter smile, a more natural alternative, a feeling that you were avoiding complicated modern products. Here is the question: what happens when a traditional practice is marketed as a replacement for something that has decades of scientific evidence behind it? That is where consumers need to be careful. Guru Nanda became one of the biggest brands to benefit from the popularity of oil pulling. The brand positioned itself around natural ingredients and traditional-inspired oral care, and this message connected with millions of people, because modern consumers are increasingly looking for products that feel simple, natural, clean, different from mainstream alternatives. Guru Nanda Pulling Oil products commonly contain coconut oil, peppermint oil, spearmint oil, clove oil, and tea tree oil. And at first glance, this sounds appealing. Simple ingredients, natural ingredients, a formula that feels completely different from the brightly colored mouthwashes sitting next to it. But here is where consumers need to separate two different ideas. Something can be traditional, something can be natural. Something can feel beneficial, but the question remains, does modern research support the health claims being made? The American Dental Association has stated that reliable evidence is lacking to prove that oil pulling can prevent cavities, whiten teeth significantly, or replace traditional oral hygiene methods. The biggest concern with trends like oil pulling is not necessarily the product itself. It is substitution. Imagine someone starts oil pulling every morning feeling like they have upgraded their routine. But slowly, they begin paying less attention to the things that have much stronger evidence behind them. Maybe they floss less. Maybe they become less consistent with brushing. Maybe they delay dental visits. The problem is not adding something new. The problem is replacing something proven with something that has not shown the same level of protection. Fluoride toothpaste, cleaning between teeth, regular dental visits. These are still the foundation of oral health. A wellness routine can be added, but it should not replace the basics. Number 1. Hello Activated Charcoal Mouthwash. Few ingredients have created more excitement in modern consumer health products than activated charcoal. For years, charcoal appeared everywhere. Face masks, toothpaste, supplements, skincare products, and eventually, mouthwash. The reason was obvious. It looked powerful. A black liquid creates an immediate psychological reaction. It looks different. It looks advanced. It looks like something ordinary products are not using. Companies understood something important. In consumer products, appearance matters. A clear liquid does not create the same curiosity as a dark black formula promising deep cleaning. Imagine walking through a store. You see dozens of traditional mouthwashes, blue bottles, green bottles, white bottles, then suddenly you see one that is completely different. A black liquid, a unique package, a word you associate with purification. Charcoal. Your brain immediately creates a story. Maybe this removes things other mouthwashes cannot. And that reaction is exactly why charcoal became such a powerful marketing ingredient. Because the appearance creates an expectation before the consumer ever reads the ingredients. Hello Activated Charcoal Mouthwash became one of the most recognizable products in this category. The marketing message was simple. Activated charcoal has the ability to bind with certain substances. So many consumers naturally made the connection. If charcoal can absorb impurities in other situations, maybe it can remove stains from my mouth. From a consumer psychology perspective, that idea makes complete sense. The problem is that chemistry is more complicated than the marketing message. An ingredient having one useful property does not automatically mean it creates every benefit people associate with it. A sponge absorbs water. That does not mean a sponge can absorb every liquid or clean every surface. A sponge cannot absorb oil. A sponge cannot clean everything. The same basic idea applies here. Activated charcoal can bind to certain substances, but that does not automatically mean every charcoal oral care product provides stronger whitening, deeper cleaning, or better oral health protection. Hello Charcoal Mouthwash contains charcoal powder, xylitol, coconut oil, and tea tree oil. But unlike traditional therapeutic mouthwashes built around clearly defined active ingredients for specific oral health concerns, charcoal mouthwashes became popular largely because of the idea behind the ingredient itself. A review examining charcoal-based mouthwashes found that evidence supporting many claimed benefits, including whitening, antimicrobial effects, bad breath control, cavity reduction, and periodontal benefits, was insufficient, and researchers noted concerns about the lack of evidence supporting some therapeutic and cosmetic claims. This reveals the biggest pattern throughout this entire video. A product does not always become popular because the science is stronger. Sometimes it becomes popular because the story is stronger. The burning sensation of traditional mouthwash creates a story. This feels powerful. Natural ingredients create a story. This feels safer. Whitening creates a story. This will improve my confidence. Charcoal creates a story. This looks like a deeper clean. But oral health is not measured by the story. It is measured by what the formula is actually proven to do. Imagine someone buying charcoal mouthwash because they want a brighter smile. They see the black liquid. They imagine it pulling away stains. They imagine a cleaner-looking smile. They use it every day, but after months, they may not see the dramatic transformation they expected. The reason is not necessarily because the product is bad. The reason is that their expectation may have been created by the marketing idea rather than the actual purpose of the formula. A consumer deserves to understand the difference between a product that looks impressive and a product that has strong evidence for the specific problem they are trying to solve. The 3 mouthwashes actually worth buying. The biggest mistake people make when choosing mouthwash is searching for the strongest bottle. The bottle with the most dramatic claim, the product that promises to solve everything. But good oral care does not work that way. The best mouthwash is not necessarily the one that does the most things. It is the one that does the right thing for your specific problem. Number 3. TheraBreath Fresh Breath Oral Rinse. For years, bad breath products followed the same formula. Make the mouth feel extremely cold, add a powerful mint flavor, create the sensation of freshness. But there is one important difference many people overlook. Fresh flavor and fresh breath are not always the same thing. A strong mint can cover an odor temporarily, but it does not necessarily address the compounds responsible for bad breath. TheraBreath built its reputation by doing something different. Instead of focusing only on the feeling of freshness, the brand focused specifically on odor control. TheraBreath Fresh Breath Oral Rinse uses sodium chloride as one of its key ingredients and is designed around reducing bad breath. This is not a whitening product pretending to solve bad breath. It has one specific target: bad breath. TheraBreath Fresh Breath Oral Rinse has also received ADA acceptance for helping reduce bad breath when used as directed. That matters because the claim is connected to a specific benefit. There is also another reason many consumers choose this type of formula. It is alcohol-free. For people who dislike the intense burning sensation of traditional mouthwashes, this can make daily use more comfortable. Sometimes a product fails not because the ingredient is ineffective. It fails because the person cannot comfortably use it consistently. However, persistent bad breath should not simply be covered with mouthwash. Sometimes, bad breath is caused by temporary things: food, dehydration, morning breath. But sometimes it can be connected to deeper issues: gum problems, dry mouth, or other oral health concerns. A mouthwash can support your routine, but it should not become a way to ignore a problem that needs attention. Number 2. Listerine Total Care Alcohol-Free. Here is an important lesson. Sometimes the difference between a good product and a bad choice is not the brand. It is the formula. One of the biggest mistakes people make with personal care products is assuming every product from the same company works the same way. They see the logo, recognize the name, assume they already know what is inside. But the same company can create completely different products for completely different problems. Listerine is the perfect example. Earlier, we discussed Listerine Original Antiseptic, the classic bottle, the intense burn, the strong essential oil combination, and alcohol content. But Listerine Total Care Alcohol Free is completely different. Instead of focusing on the sensation of strength, this formula focuses on a different goal: protection. Specifically, additional cavity protection through fluoride. Cavities are one of the most common oral health problems people experience. They do not always create immediate pain or announce themselves. A small cavity can develop quietly before someone realizes something is wrong. They are often easier to prevent than to fix. Listerine Total Care Alcohol Free contains fluoride, an ingredient that has been studied extensively in dentistry for decades. Fluoride works by helping strengthen enamel and supporting the natural repair process that happens when teeth are exposed to acids from bacteria and food. Another reason this formula appeals to many consumers is the absence of alcohol. For some people, traditional mouthwash creates a strong burning sensation that feels uncomfortable. For people with dry mouth or sensitive oral tissues, alcohol-free options may be easier to tolerate. But like every oral care product, there are precautions. Mouthwash containing fluoride is not designed to be swallowed. This is especially important for children. The biggest lesson: stop buying based on brand recognition. Start buying based on ingredients and purpose. The logo on the front tells you who made it. The ingredients on the back tell you what it actually does. Number 1. Colgate Total Active Prevention Mouthwash. The most trusted products in healthcare are not always the ones with the loudest marketing. Sometimes, they are the ones that make the clearest promise and then actually support that promise. That is what makes Colgate Total Active Prevention different. There is no dramatic black liquid, no unusual wellness ritual, no claim that one bottle will transform every aspect of your oral health. Instead, it focuses on a specific goal: helping prevent and reduce plaque and gingivitis. Plaque is not just something that affects how your teeth look. Plaque is a bacterial film that constantly develops on teeth. When it is not properly controlled, it can contribute to gum inflammation and eventually more serious oral health problems. Colgate Total Active Prevention uses cetylpyridinium chloride, or CPC. This is important. Earlier, we discussed CPC as an ingredient that may have drawbacks for some people. Now we are discussing another CPC product as one of the better choices. That is not a contradiction. Ingredients cannot be judged in isolation. The complete formula matters. The concentration matters. The purpose matters. The evidence supporting the finished product matters. Colgate Total Active Prevention has received ADA acceptance for helping prevent and reduce plaque and gingivitis above the gum line when used as directed. That matters because the claim is connected to a specific oral health benefit, not just a marketing phrase, not just a feeling. Of course, no product is perfect. Some CPC-containing rinses may cause temporary staining or taste changes in certain users. Someone who notices these effects may prefer another option. But for someone looking for a daily rinse focused around plaque and gum health, Colgate Total Active Prevention represents something many products in this category fail to provide: a clear purpose, a recognizable active ingredient, evidence supporting the reason the product exists. The 30-second buying guide. After looking at 7 products to reconsider and 3 that stand out, the biggest lesson is not that one company is perfect and another is terrible. The lesson is that consumers have been trained to shop by emotion: the strongest burn, the brightest smile, the most natural-looking label, the most impressive ingredient. But your mouth does not respond to marketing. Your teeth do not know how advanced the packaging looks. Your gums do not know how convincing the advertisement sounds. Your mouth only responds to chemistry. So the next time you are standing in the oral care aisle, ignore the front of the bottle for a moment. Turn it around. The back label tells the real story. Start with one question: what problem am I trying to solve? If the answer is bad breath, look for a product designed specifically around odor control. Do not simply choose the strongest mint flavor. A stronger taste does not always mean better breath protection. If the answer is cavities, Look for fluoride. Fluoride has one of the longest histories of evidence in dentistry for helping protect against tooth decay. If the answer is plaque or gum concerns, look for ingredients supported for that purpose. Ingredients like CPC or essential oil systems can have a role when used in the right formulas. If the answer is whitening, understand what you are buying. A whitening mouthwash may help with surface stains, but it is not a replacement for treating cavities, gum disease, or poor oral hygiene. And finally, pay attention to how your mouth reacts. A product can be effective and still not be comfortable for you. If a mouthwash constantly causes dryness, irritation, or discomfort, that is information worth listening to. There are a few rules that apply regardless of what product you choose. First, do not swallow mouthwash. Most formulas are designed to be used briefly and then spit out. Second, keep mouthwash away from young children unless a dental professional recommends it. Third, do not use mouthwash to hide serious symptoms. Persistent bleeding gums, swelling, pain, loose teeth, unexplained mouth sores, or bad breath that does not improve are signs that the underlying cause needs attention. And finally, remember what mouthwash is: a supplement, not a replacement. The foundation of oral health remains brushing, cleaning between teeth, and regular dental visits. Mouthwash can support those habits, but it cannot replace them. For years, consumers have been taught one simple idea: if a mouthwash burns, it must be working. If a bottle looks advanced, it must be better. If a product says natural, it must be safer. But after looking deeper, the reality is much more complicated. The best mouthwash is not the one with the strongest sensation. It is not the one with the most dramatic packaging. It is not the one with the longest ingredient list. It is the one that clearly matches the problem you are trying to solve, because your teeth cannot read the marketing. Your gums cannot recognize the logo. Your mouth only responds to the chemistry inside. So the next time you stand in front of the mouthwash aisle, do not ask, which one looks the strongest? Ask, what does this formula actually do? Because that one question can completely change the way you shop for oral care. And it is the difference between buying a bottle because it feels powerful and buying one because it actually fits your needs.